Hello everyone, and welcome back to Renowned Explorers, International Society, the Emperor's Challenge. Let's go on another adventure, shall we? And I quite like today's challenge, Campaign Token Master and Quick Thinker. This is actually, in a way, kind of similar to the last one we did, which was Collect Token Master and Diplomat team instead of Quick Thinker team. So very similar style here, but different token and different team challenge. Last time we were very successful with Collect Token Master because we managed to choose crew members that continued to upgrade our Collect Token naturally throughout the missions. It's a little bit harder with Campaign Token. I only was able to come up with 3 characters that would make really excellent captains for Campaign Token Mastery. And those 3 were Jan Piet. Oh, let's look at him at the captain role, shall we? Here, we'll just put someone down here randomly. Okay, that's Jan Piet, who has Globetrotter, 5 to 10 extra gold from campaign, and +4 campaign whenever he uses Insight in Paris, Cape Town, or Kyoto. So this additional start basically means that he's going to get the initial points for Campaign Token Master right off the bat, because this is an additional average of 7 to 8 resources on every campaign token, which is pretty strong. I mean, that's a lot of extra gold. So Jan Piet would be an option. Charles is an option. Acquiring a specialist entourage will give your campaign token a random improvement from his snob captain perk, and that's probably actually the most powerful one. Specialist entourages are not real common. I mean, not as common as like last run. It was every time we succeeded on a roll, we would get an addition to our collect token. This one is every time you buy a specialist entourage, which even last game where we had a lot of campaign, it was actually our biggest resource. We ended up buying approximately 16 specialist entourages. But that's more than enough to probably fulfill the majority of the Token Master Challenge. So Charles is definitely a good option for this. And if you would like to do an aggressive or devious team, Charles is probably the way to go. Jan Piet if you're aggressive, Charles if you're devious probably. And then we have our third option, which is actually, ironically, a friendly option. So we have a good option for every style, which is Hildegard. Starts with 2 to 4 research from campaign. Not as good as Jan Piet's, or Han Piet's 5 to 10 gold, but 2 to 4 research is very nice, and it will help you get maybe those early research trees that will allow you to snowball out of control a little bit better. Yeah, still nice. Charles is the way to go. He is the strongest captain perk for buffing campaign tokens. I don't think there's any real question about that. My problem with Charles right now is that he has 2 devious moves. Not only did we just use him last run, but we just did a devious challenge. And although I do have more devious treasures I would like to get, especially from Shangri-La, I am reluctant to do 2 devious runs in a row. It's as simple as that. So even though I think Charles is the strongest choice for this run, I would prefer to go for Jan Piet or Hildegard. And between these two, I think I've decided to go with Hildegard. And my reasoning for that is because one of the treasures we are missing is the friendly and campaign treasure from Shangri-La. And Hildegard, of course, very good in a friendly team. And this is a campaign token mastery run, so we should have campaign as our most gotten resource, which would be about perfect. So I think that's my goal here. Do a friendly team, get lots of campaign, go to Shangri-La, and get that last friendly Shangri-La treasure. In addition, on the way, I would like to go through the Anagogic Archipelago again. There are still treasures there that I have never gotten. And yeah, that's really going to be something that I try to do. What else? What else indeed? There is a treasure I have not gotten in the Andes, which I would like to go to. Let's see, anything else? There's the treasure in Egypt we talked about last time. There's 2 treasures that I have not gotten in the Saxon King starter. However, I will not be starting that on this campaign because the Celtic King starter is, or Saxon King starter is gold based, and we will want to start with the Viking landing. So that's kind of unfortunate, but we'll get another chance to do them, I'm sure. All right, let's pick out our team. So with that said, we need someone who's a quick thinker, obviously, and I would love to bring a archaeologist and a tactician for Anagogic Archipelago. I also know from last time that if we want to try to get the Yeti in Shangri-La, that requires a quick thinker check, which we will have to have for the quick thinker team anyway, and also requires an archaeologist check. So that's 2 reasons to have an archaeologist with us, and that seems good enough for me. In terms of selecting a friendly archaeologist, there's a couple options I came up with. Min Young, who's a very, very strong character in devious or friendly crews. Lots of damage here. She's incredibly powerful. Is an archaeologist and a diplomat. So she is an option. And the other option I came up with was Agatha. And Agatha is decent in a friendly or devious crew as well. She's got very nice cone AoEs in Lecture and Inspiring Course. And she is an archaeologist and a tactician, which I need both of those. So either Min Young or Agatha is probably going to be my other choice there. So that just leaves my third choice. I think Agatha is what I'm going to go with, so let's pick her for now. That's just my third choice. And for my third choice, I think the most important part will be to have a quick thinker. And so of friendly quick thinkers, that only left me with a couple options, actually. Actually, only one option, I think? I ran through this, but I've forgotten at this point. This is what happens to me. I run through all these things and then I forget what I came up with. Yes, I believe I only had one option I was happy with for friendly quick thinkers. Yes, yeah. Is that? Yeah, okay. Yes, correct. Okay, so the only option that I liked for friendly quick thinkers was Hojo. And, I'm fine with that. I've very rarely played with Hojo, and we just, this last time I used him, unlocked his campfire story, which was the last campfire story I needed, in fact. So might be nice to bring him along. So this is the team I came up with. Hildegard, Hojo, and Agatha. It's interesting. I'll give it that. I'm not sure how powerful it will be or how well it will go. One thing I am not a fan of is that we do not have a character with a excited buff attack. And in a friendly crew, I like to have at least someone who can buff up our fellows and make them more powerful with their AoEs. And we only have one person with AoEs, and that's Agatha. Now, fortunately, Hildegard does get Cheer, which is a excited attack that she can use to give someone the buff. And she could use that on Agatha to make Agatha's Inspiring Course better. That's an option. But overall, this team is not going to have a ton of AoE. Most of their strategy is going to be very, very strong single target attacks, both from Hildegard and Hojo. Hojo's reaching out, especially 125% times his speech power. Very, very strong. What else? I think that's about it. I think that was my basic thoughts on this. So my plan at the moment is Agatha is going to focus on both Archaeologist and Tactician. Hojo is going to focus on both Quick Thinker and Athlete, which is good because Athlete is his secondary. And the reason for that is because Athlete's actually really, really useful in some of the friendly missions, like the Molly, for instance. Athlete challenges come up constantly. So it would be nice to have an Athlete. And then Hildegard, we will focus on Diplomat first, and then I will decide if I want to take her Naturalist or not. I haven't decided. I have not decided. Now, an advantage we're going to have is that cultural challenges are going to be very, very good for us. Diplomat and Archaeology are the two options for a cultural challenge, so whenever we see those, we will go for them. Nature challenges won't be terrible. If we go Naturalist, that means that Naturalist, Survivalist, and Athlete will be our options, and the only one we won't have out of those is Survivalist. But those are the two types of challenges we're going to be the best at. We're not going to have a Rogue or an Engineer. which could be a problem in the Anagogic Archipelago, but we'll see how that goes. Let's see, just trying to make sure I have any other thoughts about this team. I think that was it. This is, I like the choices here. Let me know if you have a different idea of some characters that would be good, but do keep in mind that I do realize that Hildegard is not the best choice for this, but out of all the choices of all the captains, there were only 3 I came up with that were decent for a campaign token, and of those, Charles is definitely the best. And Han Pete is second, no doubt. Hildegard is a trailing third, unfortunately, but that's okay. That's okay. This does mean that I have had Hildegard as my captain on probably 3 or 4 runs while I've been recording, which is kind of interesting. I didn't realize I used her as a captain that often. Not sure why that is. Although I think one of those was a random run, so that doesn't really count. Okay, you know what? Let's just go. Let's just go. Classic as usual. We're gonna do the Viking landing because we do went to that campaign early on, and let's start our adventure. One thing I did not talk about is the campfire cards, and that's mostly because none of the campfire cards are really thrilling in this crew, unfortunately. I really wasn't excited about any of them, so we'll see what we come across. But there's no campfire card that I'm going to be like, oh, we need to get this one in the first couple campaigns to make this a good run. It doesn't really matter, which in a way is good. In a way it's bad because we're not excited for them, but in a way it's good because it means we're not dependent on grabbing one of them early. All right, let's go. Let's go. Time for not the tutorial. We don't need the tutorial. We are above that at this point. There we go. So we're already at 15 out of 16 for our campaign token master because Hildegard gets 2 to 4 research from campaign from the very start. We will still have to put quite some effort into that, though. All right. Our first node is a gold node, which is kind of funny considering we were going for the campaign. But a farmer is moving some of his harvest to a local market, but his wheel has gotten stuck in the mud. Sure, we will help him out. And he does give us a little bit of campaign as well. So 1 collect, 1 campaign. And looking at our campaign token right now, yeah, we can see that it does give that extra 2 to 4 research. Alright, wits challenges. I didn't talk about wits challenges. We will have the tactician and we will have the quick thinker. So the only thing we're missing there is the beguiler. There is a argument that maybe we should focus Hildegard on diplomat first and beguiler second instead of naturalist. That way we are 100% confident of going to wits challenges and cultural challenges, and then just not worry too much about the nature challenges or the technique challenges. I might consider that. That might be worthwhile. But for now, we'll take a chance and hope it's one that we like. Okay, some of your crew finds opportunities to promote itself. In this case, having a beguiler would in fact be good, and we don't. So we have a 44% chance, which is a little unfortunate, but we'll try it out, and Hildegard does a good job despite herself. Very impressed, and 3 campaign from that. Good start. Go check out our counter here. A note scribbled on a wooden slab. The meaning seems to be very cryptic. You don't really understand the writing. When you're investigating it, a group of mean locals pass by. They clearly don't like you being around. What are you doing on our island? You must be here to steal our puffins. Better get away. Puffins are cute, by the way. I did a trip, actually I've done 2 trips to Alaska over the past couple of years, and part of that was to see some of the wildlife, and there are some puffins up there. A variety of puffins. I don't remember exactly what variety they are, but they are darn cute. I will give them that. So yeah, sure. If we came across some puffins, we probably wouldn't steal them. We'd probably take the pictures. It's like, and some cultures believe that, you know, when you take a picture, or used to believe, I don't know if there are any that still believe this, used to believe that if you took their picture, you stole like a part of their soul or something. So maybe we're here to steal puffin souls. There we go. They're annoying, but their local knowledge might be useful in deciphering the cryptic slab. I think I'll name that this episode after our journey to steal puffin souls. How does that sound? That seems like an excellent goal for this expedition. Puffin souls. All right, let's start actually doing some stuff. Agatha does not quite do enough damage to take out one of these guys by herself. Does Hojo? No. Does Hildegard? Probably not. No. Okay. So we'll just try to take out one and leave the others to take care of them next turn. We do get our 25 speech defense bonus for being against devious attackers, although the text said they were aggressive-looking men. Apparently that was not the case. They seem to be being devious instead. Interesting. We apparently read them wrong, did them a disservice. Of course, he fumbled that, so maybe they're not used to being devious. I don't know. I guess fumbling a devious attack is sort of similar to trying to insult someone and flubbing it, or coming up with a really bad insult. Yeah, I could see that. Well, I guess, let's see. Fumbling on a friendly attack would be a left-handed compliment, perhaps. And fumbling on an aggressive attack would be missing, or like, yeah, just, or dropping your sword or something. Left-handed compliments, by the way. Interesting phrase that. I don't know if that phrase exists in other cultures, but in, oh, we have a treasure. Ooh. What do we want? An omelet, a bracelet, or a brooch? I don't know. Let's take the brooch. Just randomly. I have no idea which one of those would be better. Left-handed compliment is an interesting phrase that exists in English. I don't know if it exists similarly in other cultures. I wouldn't be surprised if it did. Almost... I could be wrong here, but my understanding is that that was probably a bad choice, because she gets the campfire perk to teach everyone etiquette. Oh well. I think I am correct in saying that most cultures had a beef with left-handed people. I'm not sure why. The English cultures that I know of certainly did, and some of that is still obvious in terms like left-handed compliment. A compliment that has a negative to it. When we're left-handed is referred to as a negative trait. I'm left-handed. Most of my family, most of the males in my family are left-handed. In fact, I think all of the males in my family are left-handed, and a couple of the women as well. So it's a very strong trait in my family. And at this point in history, there's really not much deficit to being left-handed. It used to be that left-handed people, and I know our campfire's ready, but I'm going to wait for a second on it because I'm talking. I know that being left-handed is no longer has a chance of shortening your lifespan, right? It used to be that most machinery and stuff like that was built for right-handed people. So left-handed people would actually have industrial accidents more often than right-handed people because it wasn't built for them. And then you had things like scissors that were originally good for right-handed and not left-handed, which we've sort of gotten away from. Most scissors are ambidextrous now. So yeah, it's interesting. If I've looked at this a little bit, and the percentage of the human population that is left-handed has remained relatively constant over humanity's history. I believe it's around 10%. Which is interesting because that tells you that despite the fact that left-handed people were dying more often than right-handed to things like accidents, it must have been enough of a bonus to the people who were left-handed that we still maintained the same approximate percentage of society being that way, right? Because if it was merely a deficit, eventually left-handed people would have died off. It's a recessive trait, so there's no way it would still be around if it was just a negative trait. So there must be something positive about it that is encouraging that trait to survive in culture, but it's not positive enough to compensate for some of the negatives, so it remains about the same percentage of the population over many, many generations as opposed to increasing or decreasing. Very interesting. There's a lot of logical arguments that the advantages left-handed people have are actually brain-related more than anything else. People who are left-handed also tend to be very empathetic and tend to have certain tendencies, emotion and skill-wise, but things that relate to the brain that might have made them valuable to society. despite the fact that her physical attribute of being left-handed gave them a deficit in survival. Very interesting. My grandmother went to a Catholic school when she was very young, and the nuns insisted that no one be left-handed, which was a very common thing years ago. And they would hit the wrist with a ruler whenever they used their left hand, and make them use the pencil in their right hand instead. So she is right-handed right now, but her birth choice was to be left-handed, and the nuns forced her to change, which is kind of interesting. I'd be very curious to know if other cultures have had those same, not problems, but those same tendencies over the years to force left-handed people to be right-handed, like the Catholic nuns did, or to have a higher fatality rate for left-handed people because of things like machinery being made for right-handed people, and what the percentage of the population is left-handed in certain countries, and if it varies. I don't actually know. I don't actually know that. I do know that whether you take this as a good thing or a bad thing, a very large percentage of U.S. presidents have been left-handed, a much higher percentage than the percentage of the population that is left-handed. So does that mean that the traits that are associated with being a left-handed person, like whether that's the more empathy or whatever that is, does that mean that those traits particularly suit you to go into politics, or particularly suit you to be a leader, or something like that? I don't know. It could be as simple as maybe the traits that are associated with being left-handed make you a good public speaker. I have no idea. I always enjoyed public speaking, and I'm left-handed, but that's a very small sample size, clearly. Let me know. Are any of you guys left-handed? What kind of traits do you have that might be associated with being left-handed? And does your country, wherever you live, have any sort of interesting quirks involving left-handed people over the years? I'd be curious to know. Yeah. Okay. Enough on that that off-track conversation. Raising the bar. Hojo's campfire story. I've never gotten to play this before. Let's take a look. Hojo thinks there's a certain way an explorer should be. Is the crew up to his standards? You gain 1 discovery, treasure hunt, or secret whenever you find a treasure belonging to it, depending on its treasure category. Well, that seems great to get right away. Yeah, that seems amazing. What else do we have? Extra encounter for each level of tactician, beguiler, or quick thinker in your crew. Wow, we'll keep that. That will be good for our crew, especially if we decide to make Hildegard a diplomat and a beguiler. 5 encounter, not that exciting. 5 study, not that exciting. So let's play Raising the Bar. Instead of spending time with the crew, Hojo is categorizing your finds all alone. He mumbles something about increased efficiency. Agatha thinks something is up and asks Hojo if there is a problem. Hojo turns around and says, "Oh, Hojo, that's not very nice. I am taken aback by that. I don't think Hildegard is an adequate explorer, or I don't think Agatha is an adequate explorer." Okay, well, obviously I'd rather not do either of these, but apparently Hojo's a very mean person. I didn't realize that. You're not supposed to be a devious character. You're a friendly and aggressive character. What's wrong with you? Well, we know that Hojo does not like Hildegard. Hojo is one of the characters in the game that does not appreciate being led by a child leader. So I think lore-wise and personality-wise, he'd probably be more likely to say that Hildegard is not an adequate explorer. Agatha is very intelligent. She's got a lot of experience under her belt, and I think Hojo would probably appreciate her more than he would appreciate Hildegard's young naivete. So let's do that. I don't think Hildegard is an adequate explorer. What? Hildegard can't help but being a little offended. A little offended? I'd be greatly offended. Hildegard tries to keep it cool and asks what seems to be the problem. Hojo tries to be polite and bows down toward Hildegard and quietly whispers in her ear what he thinks. Hildegard is appalled. That's not polite, Hojo. Well, maybe in Hojo's culture it is. I don't know. But at least where I'm from, that would not be considered polite. I'm not of slow mind, I'm not just messing around, or I'm not uninformed. What does Hojo think of Hildegard? Well, if we go with what I was talking about earlier, where Hojo is not fond of Hildegard because she is a child, he might think she was messing around because, an adult might often, or an older person might often think that a child is taking it seriously, right? It's just having fun on an adventure. So I can see that. Uninformed, I could also see. We talked about the naivete of children often. A slow of mind is just mean. Like you don't tell anyone they're slow of mind. That's just cruel. So either messing around or uninformed. I mean, Hildegard is a child scientist. She has naturalist perks. So uninformed is kind of weird. Let's have Hojo think that Hildegard is just messing around a little bit. She's young, she's enjoying the adventure, and she's not taking it as seriously as Hojo would like. Hojo looks dead serious. Hildegard's tactical insight is a liability, and she has to become more of a tactician. But Hojo is not a bad guy and offers to help. Later, Hildegard is offended and a bit sad. Like Hojo is such a perfect explorer. Grump, grump, grump. Okay, so this is interesting. So apparently Hojo's going to try to help Hildegard become more of a tactician. That's unfortunate because we were going to give Hildegard, or not Hildegard, we're going to give Agatha a lot of tactician perks because she's naturally one, or naturally can be one. I wonder if this is an opportunity for us to reconsider and try to give Hildegard a bunch of tactician perks, and instead of making Agatha our tactician, let her be something else that might come in handy. And just focus on archaeology other than that. We'll have to figure that out. I will make that decision at some point. Interesting. Wary of Hojo gets 5% speech power and 5 speech defense. Well, that's not bad. I'll take it. Yeah, actually, both of our other party members are upset at being led by a child, which is kind of funny. Poor Hildegard. She's got a lot of opposition on this particular journey. Don't worry, Hildegard. I'm on your side. You find a local merchant who wants to trade indigenous trinkets with you. Okay, cool. Hildegard should do a decent job negotiating a good deal here. The merchant is convinced by Hildegard. You strike a hard bargain, but you got yourself a deal. You're quite a well-spoken traveler. Indeed we are. Nope, we lost our Retriever of Treasure mission. That's kind of sad. But there should be a treasure here for us. This is the place where the cryptic slab was pointing towards. A treasure must be nearby. And there we go. What do we get? The Nordic Bracelet. 5 campaign or a secret. Well, might as well take the campaign. We get the extra research for that. I don't know. Oh, we get extra research for a secret too. Okay. Well, 8 to 12 research on a secret. 5 campaign would be 10 to 20 research. So that would be better. But 5 campaign would also be 50... Yeah, 50 to 75 status, right? So actually, yeah, the 5 campaign is just better because of Hildegard's bonus. So there you go. Merlin, what you doing, buddy? Come here. I know. Mommy left for work. Yep. Yep, I know. Hi. Yeah, my wife just left for work, so Merlin is very upset because he's so happy when we wake up in the mornings because people are around again. Come here. Good boy. He gets so upset because he's very happy and very lovey in the mornings when people wake up because he's been alone all night, and that bothers him. So he's very, very happy in the mornings. But then my wife obviously leaves right away to go to work, and he gets very depressed and wanders around the house crying until I invite him to my lap and pat him and tell him it's all right. Yep. Hi. Hello. Yeah, so good purrs. This is pretty much the only time of the day I can ever get him to purr for me. He'll purr for my wife at the drop of a hat, but he does not purr for me except for very early in the mornings when he's feeling very lonely. And sometimes I can get him to purr for me. Yep, okay, you can stay there. Yep. Just don't rub the mic. We're out of supplies already. That's not a good sign, and Hojo loses some armor. But we are going to get some more right here, fortunately. Normally wouldn't be so excited about this, but you found an abandoned farm. The fields are overgrown with vegetables and some fruit trees, and we get 3 supplies. Now, did we get our extra token for that treasure we just got? It doesn't look like it. We already had a secret, didn't we? Or was that secret from that treasure? That's possible. I didn't pay attention. I'll have to try to pay attention in the future. What do we got here? A ruined Viking village. It's been buried by the sands over the years. The crew fanatically starts to pull out planks, pots, and pieces, but an old woman comes rushing towards us. What do you think you're doing? That's not how you excavate precious treasures. You're doing it all wrong. Allow me to teach you the archaeologist excavation perk. with my state-of-the-art shovel, the Grevmaster 3000. An amazing once-in-a-lifetime offer. That does seem like a good offer. Does Agatha have excavation? No. And she can't learn it, so that's perfect. We are going to give that to Agatha. Great, that's a wonderful perk for us to be gotten for free this early. The old woman teaches Agatha how to handle the Grevmaster 3000 with utmost precision and the finest digging techniques. This way you'll never destroy a treasure by accident. Excellent. Let's keep going. 2 villagers keep following you and annoying you with well-intentioned questions. These friendly gentlemen need to be convinced to stop following you, and we can indeed try to do that. I should probably also check and make sure my wife fed them before she left. She usually does, but occasionally she forgets. And that would also make Merlin very, very upset. Callie's just sleeping right here. She's in the bed right next to me on the floor, curled up and very happy. I can hear her purring from here. She tends to purr while she sleeps. Very happy cat. Incredibly happy cat. Very easy to please. Just sit near her or sit somewhere and she'll find you and sit near you and go to sleep. And as long as you're nearby and she knows where you are and she knows she's not alone, then she will just purr her heart out. Very cute. They do have their upsides, you know. I often complain a lot about the downsides of having the cats around, but they do have their positives as well. Alright. Friendly approach has proven its worth. Now, Rivalo is kind of near us in points, but it's early on. I'm not too concerned. And 2 more level ups. Let's level up Agatha, and we will give her Archaeologist Architecture. We'll decide later if we're going to take her Tactician or not, eventually. But for now, get her those Archaeologist perks. Now, I did ask the question 2 runs ago about what is the ideal level to get perks to. And I had... Not only did I find an additional... I can never remember which perks the grappling hooks give. Because the grappling hook is a really early item that gives 2 levels of... Excuse the trees popping in the background there. I'm looking up the grappling hook again. I can never remember... Get out of that. I can never remember which perks the grappling hook gives. And I like to know that. Nimble and Escape Artist. Okay. Not Reflexes. And he does not have either Nimble or Escape Artist, so it doesn't matter. Okay, good. Now, I do want to give some athlete perks to Hojo eventually, but I think for now, I'm going to give him Quick Thinker. That helps her speech out a little bit, which would come in handy in the final battle here. And yeah, it doesn't take away from what the grappling hook will give us, which is good. Anyway, what was I saying? I did find out that the highest level that new dialogue options will show up for perks is level 6, actually, not level 5. So, in order to not use resources unnecessarily, my goal from now on is going to be to get people to level 6 in a perk and then stop, and then try to put all our resources into leveling something else for them. Now, additional levels past 6 will, of course, help with very, very hard rolls, especially in the later expeditions like Shangri-La. Sometimes even 6 levels of a perk is not sufficient to get 100% on a roll. But it won't give you new dialogue options at that point. And I think dialogue options are more important in that case. Here's the Hidden Hoard. Let's take a secret or a discovery. One of the two. And since we are getting discovery from secrets anyway, I think or not discovery, we're getting science or study or research. Research, okay. We're getting research from secrets anyway. I think I'll take that. So many words that get across the same idea. With scouting the area, a goofy-looking man comes up to you. Are you by any chance renowned explorers? You see, I'm kind of a big deal, and I would like to travel with them and be part of their entourage. Sure. He's going to make our campaigns more effective. Hey, that'll help out our campaign token master. A free lobbyist. Nice. And Hildegard loses some speech power, which is unfortunate. But there's our first points from Campaign Token Master. That's good. That gets rid of these 2 pips that Rivalo had been working on, so not too shabby. And he did unfortunately complete Quick Thinker Team before we did, or he's right there. Yeah, he did complete it. That's unfortunate. Some cuddly sheep are fond of the crew and keep surrounding you. It makes it hard to move and you have to do something. But Hojo, as a level 1 Quick Thinker, thinks fast and imitates a hay bale. The sheep come rushing toward Hojo, and the crew get away. And one more debuff. Hildegard losing some speech defense. Alright, let's go to the end. This has been kind of a long one, mostly because I got distracted talking about a couple of different things. Let's see who Rivalo is going to send at us. Cassandra. Okay. Cassandra is a friendly character. She enjoys it if we are friendly as well, which we will be. That'll make her very happy. Yeah, doesn't like it if we're aggressive. Is okay if we're devious, but likes it if we are diplomatic. Alright, now we did get a couple of our new abilities. We got Cheer, Reaching Out, which is a very good friendly attack. We'll probably use that on Cassandra. And in Lecture, we don't get Inspiring Course on Agatha until much, much later. It's her 4th level, I believe. Inspiring Course is decent. Unlike Piercing Shot, you don't have to be 1 space away from a character, which is nice. But it is devious, so there is that. 1 second, guys, I'm getting a phone call. Alright, I am back. I will cut that out of the video. I had to answer that. That's the recruiter that I've been working with, and he needed to talk to me. It's the way it goes. So we will start with Inspiring Course, or not Inspiring Course, Lecture here. It will put us in a devious mood, but that's okay, because I intend to go straight back to a friendly mood by finishing off these 2 guys right here at the front. I definitely do want to cut that pause out of the video, not just because there's no reason to have you guys wait through it, but because this video is already going to be a little long, and there's no reason to make it any longer. There we go, back to pleasant. Everybody's being very nice. We do have a mood switcher goal up there in the top right hand corner. I can probably manage that. I'll have to go back to probably devious. I don't really want to go to aggressive because it'll take 5 pips to go back to friendly after that. So we'll probably switch back to devious and then switch to friendly once again. Agatha did take quite a bit of damage there, but I can cheer her. There we go. Excellent. Now, the other thing I could do is use Reaching Out. Removes 2 aggressive and devious pips and adds 3 friendly to the mood. That would make it so I could go to aggressive and then pretty quickly go right back to friendly. That's another option. How does... let's see. Let's do this. Yeah, okay. Just thinking here how I want to do this. Since Hildegard does not have another move this turn, I am reluctant to go to Devious right now, because we can't get back to Friendly within the same turn, and I don't want to take that debuff. So, I think for now, I used a Friendly move there. I'm going to use a Devious move here, because that will give us 2 pips. That way, next turn, we're only 1 away from moving back to Devious, and then we can try to switch back to Pleasant at the same turn. I think that will be the easiest way to do it. Oh, nice of Cassandra to excite us all. We'll get our buff to our speech from that. And lots of misses. Can't complain about that either. Alright. Agatha is decent at being devious. The other 2 members of our party have a try to terrify, but Agatha has the true terrify. So we're going to use that on Cassandra. That's going to move us to a devious attitude. And then we'll come up here and use Reaching Out, which will actually finish her off, so never mind. I was thinking that we'd then move back to Friendly with an attack from Hildegard, but we don't need to. Reaching Out was strong enough, and did it by itself, because it adds 3 friendly pips to the mood. So that'll move the mood back to Friendly by itself. And actually, we didn't even get Friendly. We barely there got Devious. Oh well, doesn't really matter. We probably just lost a few resources from that Cassandra would have gotten us. Okay, she gives us a treasure map and only 1 campaign. We probably would have gotten more if we'd finished it Friendly. Oh well. Everyone takes a look, and we can go to another antiquity site nearby. We can go to a difficult-to-reach area, or ask the locals. Given the choices, the sword, the drinking horn, or the leprechaun, I think the leprechaun is probably the one we want. I think that gives you campaign bonuses, if I'm remembering correctly. So that's the difficult-to-reach area. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe we'll get it. There we go. 1 to 3 stats from campaign. There we go. Or +1 campaign at the end of each expedition for each level of diplomat or beguiler. But I think in this case, just an average of 2 more status per campaign is pretty good. That'll give us an extra 20 right here. Not too shabby. And this early, something like that's really nice. Okay, time to meet the Emperor, but we're not going to meet the Emperor because we already know what the Emperor's going to tell us. So, alright. See what our assets look like at the end of this first campaign. Or first expedition, I should say. 500 status, pretty good. Decent amount of research, might be enough to get a tree done. Actually, almost 660 status. Very nice. Okay, don't need to talk to the Emperor. And we will take our Renowned Explorer's badge for the extra 2 supplies. Alright, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please put a like on it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more in the future. Leave a comment down below, or send me a tweet if you want to tell me who you used for, or would use for this challenge if you didn't do it yourself, and anyone that might have been a good choice that I didn't pick. I'd be curious to see what you think. Also, let me know. Left-handedness. I'm curious. Are you left-handed? Is your family left-handed? Anyone in your family left-handed? What does your country think of left-handed people, or what have they historically thought of them? I would like to know. All right, I will see you next time in Renowned Explorers.